You've seen this symbol everywhere, right? It's on posters, t-shirts, you name it. But what if I told you that the deepest wisdom of this ancient symbol, well, it isn't tucked away in some old scroll. It's actually inside you, right now. Okay, let's really get into this. So let me ask you a question. Where can you find perfect, harmonious balance at this very moment? I'm not talking about on a mountaintop or in some quiet temple. No, it's somewhere much, much closer. And the answer is, well, it's surprisingly simple. Seriously, just do it with me right now. Take a deep breath. Inhale. And now exhale. That's it. That simple rhythm you just felt, that's the whole key. You see, the profound secret of Yin and Yang isn't some abstract idea. It's a physical reality, something we experience with every single breath we take. So let's decode it together. Okay, so let's break down what you just did. When you inhale, that's an active process, right? Your body works, your chest expands, you're taking in energy. That's Yang. And then the exhale, that's passive. You just let go. You relax, you contract, you release. That's Yin. Active and passive, expanding and contracting, all happening inside you constantly. Once you see your breath as this constant dance between Yin and Yang, you start to unlock the fundamental rules that basically govern all of life. It's almost like finding the universe's secret instruction manual. So the first principle is pretty straightforward. They're opposites, but they have to coexist. I mean, you can't just inhale forever, right? You absolutely need the exhale to make room for the next breath. They are these two opposing forces that actually depend on each other. It's a perfect picture of how things like success and failure, or even joy and sadness, aren't enemies. They're just necessary parts of a full life. And that flows right into the next principle. They're totally interdependent. The whole point of the exhale is to create the space for the inhale. And the inhale, it provides the very air that you're going to use for the exhale. One just flat out cannot happen without the other. It's like a great team, you know? You have the big picture thinkers and you have the people who get things done. They're not competing, they're interdependent. They make the whole thing work. Now, this is really important. This balance we're talking about, it isn't a static 50-50 split. It's not frozen. It's a dynamic, flowing process. You inhale all the way to your peak, that's Yang at its fullest. Then there's that tiny little pause, that's the turning point. And then the exhale, the Yin begins. It's this constant, smooth conversion. So life isn't about having a perfect work-life balance every single day. It's about getting good at that fluid shift between intense, focused work and real deep rest. This brings us to what might be the most subtle and honestly beautiful principle of all. It's captured perfectly in this idea, you have me and you, and I have you and me. This gets to the heart of those little dots you see in the symbol. So what does that actually mean? It means that each side contains the seed of its opposite. Think about it. In your deepest moments of rest, that's pure Yin. Your body is quietly building the potential for your next burst of energy. And at the absolute peak of your success, that's pure Yang, there's a little seed of Yin in there, the need for humility and calm to keep you from burning out. It tells us that even in the darkest moment, there is always a tiny seed of hope. Okay, so we've seen how these four principles play out in something as simple as our breath. Now, let's zoom out and see how this amazing framework applies to, well, the rest of our lives. And believe me, this applies everywhere. Take our health. We put so much focus on the Yang of exercise, but it's the Yin of deep sleep where our bodies actually repair and build muscle. Or at work, we cheer for the Yang of a crazy project sprint, but we often forget the crucial Yin of quiet reflection. That's where the experience actually becomes wisdom. And for personal growth, facing a challenge is Yang, for sure. But the real change happens in the Yin phase, when we quietly integrate what we've learned. You need both halves to be whole. This all brings us to one final, really powerful idea. It's the ultimate rule that ties everything we've talked about together. Let's call it the rule of wholeness. It really just comes down to this number, 2. 2 forces, 2 phases, 2 ideas. But, and this is the key, they are not enemies locked in a fight. Not at all. They are partners in a dance. An inhale and an exhale aren't at war with each other. Together, they create the single act of breathing. They are 2 essential halves of one whole. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Yin and Yang are the breathing principle of the entire universe. From the ocean tides to the changing seasons to the rhythm of our own hearts, this constant pulse of give and take, of action and rest, is what creates life itself. And so we end right where we began, with you. Your life, when you think about it, is just a long, long series of these breaths, these cycles of yin and yang, a moment of action followed by a moment of rest, a time to speak and a time to listen. So the final question is for you to carry with you. What does your next breath hold? The potential for action or the need for rest? The choice and the balance is yours.